Welcome to the Lion's Share podcast, where we break down today's most impactful research and bring fresh insights from the academic frontier straight to you.
When you hear the word entrepreneur, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
For most people, it's that fixed image, right? The 20-something founder, maybe a college dropout, starting the next big thing from a garage.
Exactly. It's a really powerful narrative in our culture.
Yeah.
But for innovation leaders, for strategic thinkers, the real mission is understanding the mindset behind it.
Yeah.
What actually drives that value creation?
Mm-hmm. And that narrative, I mean, it gets the funding rounds, it gets the headlines.
Yeah.
But for you, the learner who's really focused on corporate innovation, on advanced business modeling,
Yeah.
our deep dive today is going to move, I think, far beyond that solo founder myth. We're pulling from, academic heavyweights like MIT Sloan, but also from practitioners to define this mindset as something universal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this isn't just about starting a business from scratch. It's about a core mental framework, one that lets people recognize and act on opportunities.
And make decisions with limited info and stay adaptable, stay resilient, especially when things are uncertain or really complex.
That phrase is so key. It frames the relevance for everyone. This mindset can apply in government, in nonprofits, and crucially for our discussion, inside big established companies. That's entrepreneurship.
And the tension we're looking at today is just perfect for anyone thinking about venture creation or innovation strategy. The sources actually give us conflicting data on who the most successful entrepreneur is. Is it the young risk taker, or is it the experienced corporate pro?
A great question. So let's start with the groundwork. What's the core definition?
At its heart, it's a unique set of, let's say, mental attitudes, behaviors, and skills. And they all drive individuals to spot opportunities, to take initiative, and of course, to innovate.
Okay, so when we dig into those mental elements, what really separates a true entrepreneur from, say, a more conventional manager?
I think 4 things consistently top up,
Yeah.
and they're all defined by how they work under uncertainty. First is opportunity recognition. This is an almost obsessive ability to seek out and spot new possibilities that, frankly, other people just overlook because they're stuck in the old way of doing things.
So it's not just, there's a gap in the market. It's seeing the future potential of that gap before it's obvious to anyone else.
Precisely. The second one is proactivity. This just means taking action, decisive action, without waiting for all the data to be perfect or for someone to give you permission.
Which must create so much friction in a big company, right? A manager gets rewarded for keeping things stable. An entrepreneur, they get rewarded for calculated chaos.
That conflict is exactly it. It's why so many entrepreneurial projects just die. The corporate immune system, it rejects that proactive approach.
Mm-hmm.
Third is risk tolerance. And this is important, we have to emphasize the word calculated.
This isn't just gambling.
Not at all. It's not blind gambling. Entrepreneurs are willing to take risks, but it's only after they've done their homework, assess the outcomes, even when the data is, frustratingly thin.
And the last one.
Vision and goal orientation, having a clear long-term purpose and setting real, actionable goals. The key here is that the purpose has to be strong enough to survive, multiple pivots when things inevitably go sideways.
Right.
And if you zoom out from those 4, you get these 3 really powerful high-level concepts from places like MIT Sloan and QUT. The entrepreneurial mindset is solutions-oriented, adaptable, and anti-fragile.
We'll start with solutions-oriented. That links directly to resilience, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The sources say it's about being resourceful, action-oriented, and I love this phrase, having optimistic interpretations of adverse events.
Yes.
So you hit a wall, and instead of panicking, you see it as a design challenge,
Yeah.
maybe even an opportunity.
That reframing is absolutely essential. It means you have to be persistent. You have to see failures not as the end, but as structured learning opportunities.
But here's the tension for me, is that optimism just naivete. If you're always interpreting failure in a positive light, how do you stop yourself from, marching optimistically right into bankruptcy?
That's a great question. You do it by structuring the learning. The research shows this mindset needs an intentional community. People who give you positive support, yes, but who also provide critical guidance.
So they'll call you out on your assumptions.
They have to. It's a feedback loop that stops optimism from becoming delusion. And that idea of community, by the way, it's going to come back later when we talk about the home part of anti-fragility.
That's a perfect lead-in to the second trait, adaptability. Embracing change is a must for entrepreneurs, but traditional management school. Well, it often teaches the opposite. It teaches stability, optimization.
The antithesis of adaptation, and this is where that friction comes in again. Inside a big company, to innovate, you need what's called the ambidextrous leader.
Ambidextrous.
Yeah, these are managers who have to be entrepreneurial. They have to manage the existing stable structures, the exploit function, but at the same time, they have to tolerate and fund experimental change, the explore function.
That sounds great in a textbook, but isn't that just asking one person to be two opposite people? How do you stop the stable, money-making exploit side from just crushing the risky explore side every time?
You need structural separation and a culture that explicitly tolerates it. The exploration unit, it often needs to be shielded from the core business's metrics. The ambidextrous leader is the translator between those two worlds. Their job is to manage the politics and make sure the new ideas don't get starved of resources.
Okay, let's get to the one I find most interesting strategically. Anti-fragility. We all know resilience is about surviving a shock and bouncing back. But anti-fragility, that's about getting better from stress.
Exactly. It's a positive quality. The system actually harvests error and stress to improve itself. And that's not something you see in a typical corporate budget.
So how do you build it?
Allett from MIT lays out 4 pillars you have to build intentionally. The first is heart. This is the deep collective confidence that when disruption hits, the feeling is, this is what we were built for.
Okay, so heart is the motivation, but you still need a map.
And that's head. The clear understanding of what to do, having a real plan of action for different scenarios. It's the intellectual capacity to process what's happening and react strategically.
And a plan isn't enough if you can't act on it.
Which brings us to hand. That's the technical, the operational capability to actually turn knowledge into execution fast. It's about having empowered teams and streamlined processes ready to go.
And the last one is home. This one feels like it's often overlooked in theory, but it seems critical.
It's arguably the most critical for scaling, yes. Home is the ability to marshal resources quickly through your community, through your networks. It's not just, moral support. It's access to capital, talent, partners, right when you need to pivot.
So for corporate entrepreneurship, big companies' home would be its global infrastructure, its established supply chain.
Exactly. That's its strategic advantage. It can absorb shocks that would kill a startup. And Olleh's point is that this anti-fragility has to be built in at every level of the organization, not just with the founders.
That academic framework is really solid, but the practitioner view from the small business community adds some essential color to it.
Oh, for sure. The practitioner angle is vital. It deals with the messy reality of the day-to-day. They mention things like being a natural-born leader, a lifelong learner, but also...
Self-confidence?
Yes, self-confidence, which means trusting your gut when you don't have perfect market data. And, crucially, being good at managing money, or at least knowing when to hire someone who is.
And my personal favorite, which feels very humanizing, is having a sense of humor. The ability to laugh at yourself, to diffuse a tense situation after, say, a terrible pitch meeting. It keeps you positive, keeps you creative when the stress is just off the charts.
And strategically, these traits are non-negotiable. Self-confidence is early-stage marketing. You are the brand. Managing money, that's your runway. It buys you time to adapt and find the right opportunity. It all ties together.
Which brings us right to the central tension of this whole discussion. The age debate. We have the Zuckerberg narrative, the youth advantage. Is that just a good story, or is there real data behind it?
Well, there's a very compelling case for the youthful grand slam. The founders of the truly world-changing companies, we're talking Gates, Jobs, Zuckerberg, Page, they were all between 20 and 26.
So young.
Incredibly young. They didn't just iterate on an idea, they broke the whole mold.
And the reason why is fascinating. It ties directly to their lack of a cost structure. They literally have nothing to lose.
Right. They're used to living cheap, no mortgage, no major responsibilities. It lets them swing for the fences, take these huge risks that a mid-career professional with a family just couldn't justify.
And they have that fresh perspective. No industry bias.
Exactly. They don't have those established mental models telling them that's impossible or that's not how it's done. That allows for true breakthrough innovation.
But when you look at the broader data, that whole story starts to look a little different. The case for the mid-career, more experienced founder is actually really strong.
It's the statistical reality. The data shows Americans 35 or older are 50% more likely to start a business. The average entrepreneur is 39,
Wow.
And mid-career founders are nearly 5 times more likely to have a successful business 5 years down the line. They have experience, but their biggest strategic asset is often financial stability.
Which provides a different kind of risk tolerance, like we were saying before. They can self-finance, use savings, home equity.
And that reduces the immediate pressure. It means they don't have to chase outside money too early. And their ideas, their inspiration often comes directly from frustrations at their old job.
Like the founders of Garmin.
Perfect example. They use their deep experience at Allied Signal. The takeaway here is that existing companies, despite all their friction, can be the best cradles for entrepreneurs.
Which means corporations really need to start seeing their experienced employees as potential entrepreneurs, not just, cogs in the machine.
So the core tension for you, the learner, is really this. Does your venture need a complete break from tradition? That favors youth. Or does it need deep industry expertise and financial stability? That favors the older founder.
So zooming out, what are the big actionable takeaways here for innovation leaders or founders listening to this?
I think there are 3. First, for corporate venturing, you have to cultivate those ambidextrous leaders. You have to build anti-fragility at all levels. And you need to train managers to see that most of them just don't see the entrepreneurs right under their noses.
Second, for a new venture.
For new ventures, success is about calculated risks, yes. But your ability to take those risks is fundamentally tied to your personal financial stability. Your lifestyle hedge is a huge strategic asset.
More than the idea itself sometimes.
Often more than the idea itself. And third, for strategy and marketing, that solutions-oriented, customer-first approach is your foundation. It has to be coupled with the resilience to treat setbacks not as failures, but as learning opportunities. That's what fuels the whole cycle.
It really seems like the definition of the entrepreneurial mindset itself, that core of resilience and adaptation, is so much more important than the founder's age.
Which brings us to a final thought for you to chew on. Given that the mindset is all about resilience and adaptation, maybe focusing on the founder's age is less important than focusing on the organization's culture, its capacity to tolerate risk and rebound from failure.
And if that home pillar, that community support, is so critical, how can organizations, no matter if the founder is 25 or 55, how can they intentionally build those networks, those resources needed to support these high-risk, high-reward ventures?
Without crushing the founder's ability to swing for the fences.
It's a question of systemic support for individual drive, a great strategic challenge to think about.
Absolutely.
And that concludes this deep dive into the entrepreneurial mindset.
Thanks for tuning into the Lion's Share podcast. If you enjoyed today's discussion, share it with a friend and join us next time for more ideas worth talking about. We'll see you next time.